Hey, baseball fans. Tim Lowry with you, back again with Backfields Media's eMLB Top 10 Right Now series. Today, we are going to be talking about the catchers. Not surprisingly, it is one of the most loaded positions in the eMLB. Everyone you're about to see is a CCP or community created player. And if you didn't understand a word of that, it's okay. Community created players are unique people that are Hey there, baseball fans. Tim Lowry with you, Backfields Media, welcoming you to another episode of eMLB's Top 10 Right Now. Today, we're going to talk about the catchers. It is a loaded lineup, this top 10. All 10 are CCPs, names that you are familiar with. Some are already legends, some are trying to be. Let's jump right in as we hit our number 10 in eMLB right now. It's Los Angeles Dodgers catcher Dwayne Elizondo Camacho. Slash line is not going to jump out at you right away. 226, 339, 432. But his K rate, he lowered it about 5%, so it wasn't striking out as much. Raised his walk rate 3%. Doubled his total of extra base hits almost. He's coming up. He's getting his feet under him. He's starting to match this profile, which, above average contact, plus avoid K and power, superb eye. As he continues to grow into his own, we expect to see more of the power, a little bit better average, but where he really shines is in his defense. He threw out 28.6% of runners last year, was second in the eMLB. Superb blocking ability. And the framing and arm are not far behind. So it really made him an elite catcher. Again, back to the offense. Where he struggled was he's trying to pull everything. He's trying to hit a lot of homers. And so sometimes that induces some weak contact, drives the average down. But honestly, when he does connect, the results are significant. Had 56 RBIs. We expect all those numbers to go up. Who does he most compare to? Compares to Juan Benitez over in San Diego right now. And a catcher for Cleveland in the 1980s, Jerry Willard, compares most closely. So Dwayne Elizondo Camacho, Mountain Dew, is our number 10 catcher in baseball right now. Now, let's go to our number 9 catcher. And it is Chicago White Sox own Lane Staley. This will probably be the lowest Staley has ever put on a top 10 list. Barely played more than half the season, but still managed to accumulate 4 WAR in that period of time. So if you do the whole, okay, well, if you extrapolate that to 162 games, you're looking at an elite catcher. And he truly was. 319, 410, 535 slash line. 158 OPS with 156 WRC plus. So, yeah, can hit. You see the profile, above average all the way around. Gap power is a bit to the average side. You're going to see a lot in this top 10. Power and eye are the key elements here, especially offensively for these catchers. Defensively, grades out as plus, but just getting started. Had a 3.20 catchers earned run average. And I know people kind of roll their eyes at catcher's ERA, but it's a stat, okay? It's not the stat. So, yeah, we're taking it with a grain of salt. But he definitely came in. The pitchers seem to do okay with him, seem to be doing all right. Threw out 25.8% of runners. This is a player who is going to, in next year even, will be contending for batting titles, home run titles, RBI, MVP votes. And we're witnessing the birth of a legend here. The comparisons really don't work right now. He's compared to a 1920s Giants catcher, Jack Cummings, who had the year of his life at the point that we're comparing him to. Compares favorably right now to Martin Mendoza, who's an elite defensive catcher for the Stags. And also compares to Bob O'Farrell, who ended up having a 20-year career in baseball. We can only hope Staley will last as long. If he does, there's going to be a lot of records falling at that time. Lane Staley is our number 9 catcher in baseball right now. Let's go to our number 8. And our number 8 catcher is New York Yankees Jules Zana. I used to think of Zana when I first started doing the CCP Festival as kind of a hidden gem. It's not so hidden anymore. 309, 392, 472. Really had a pop-up year offensively. Oh, he's improved every year. Excellent contact. His power is just a smidge below average, but he did have 41 extra base hits. Plus defense, the arm is really the only thing that kind of holds him back from being considered perhaps an elite catcher. One thing I noticed offensively about him, he started taking more pitches per plate appearance this past season, and I think it kind of paid off. His BABIP came up, started getting the ball, had a 136 OPS. Didn't see that. He's not going to win you any games on the base paths, but he is a very solid catcher. And in a league that dotes on its CCP catchers, Zana locked up for the next 3 years, 4 years with the Yankees. Be curious to see what he does with that. You can see he's got a little bit of room to improve. Still going. He was 5th in runners thrown out, 24.5%. Compared to a Southern California catcher of the 60s and 70s, Bob Barton, played for the Giants and Padres. His age 23 season most closely compared to Jerry Grote, who was a Mets legend. Jules Zana is our number 8 catcher in baseball right now. And that takes us to number 7. Number 7 is two-way star Dante Haversham of the Philadelphia Phillies. 295, 375, 542 slash line. This guy's a slugger. 28 homers, 68 RBIs. If you look at all of the offensive categories for catchers, Dante Haversham almost for everyone finished 5th. And you'll see why as we go down the list. But it was just incredible. He's 5th in everything. Plus contact, plus power, doesn't strike out a lot, although, and in not nearly to the extent that he was in 2029, where he only struck out 61 times, but still was very effective. Had a bit of a drop-off offensively. I feel like I've said that a lot for all of these. Whether it was the move to 25 or whether we had more superstar pitchers in the league, we can debate that in the Discord. But I just feel like it's It's come up more often than not. What Haversham does better is the framing. Pushes him into the top tier. He's not the greatest. He's not the best at it, but he's incredible. So this is a guy who typically hits in the 320s, and I don't expect that to change. I feel like that's going to become more of a thing for him. I think this was just a down year. He did have a 27-game on-base streak last year, and the Phillies have him locked up through the decade. So, it'll be 2040, and he'll be, 36-ish by that time. So we will see how he will do. It's going to be exciting in Philadelphia this year for sure. All of his comps, because of his pitching ability, were pitchers. And it's something we're not really going to talk about here, so we're going to move on from that. But Dante Haversham is the number 7 catcher in baseball right now in the eMLB. All right, let's go to number 6. And our number 6 catcher in baseball is Grayson Rowan. I am surprised he is this low. However, he did have a significantly down year this past year. You see all of his slash line numbers are off significantly. 50 points in average and slugging, only about 30 in on base. Home runs still were kind of at the same, the extra bases. So it was just basically making contact he seemed to struggle with. Don't know, again, if it was just part of the overall trend towards down, but he did keep the power high. And again, power and eye are his best features here. He's above average with those. Contact, right at or just above average. But where Rowan really makes a difference is he is an elite blocker and framer. Let me give you a stat. He led the league in catcher's ERA. Again, just a stat. Had 18.4 framing runs. So if you need a guy to get you a strike on a borderline pitch, meet Grayson Rowan. Just phenomenal. Tremendous blocker at the plate. It turns him into an elite catcher. Only thing that's really missing, his arm. Significantly, on this list, probably one of the lower arms, but is just so incredible otherwise. It's just hard to ignore. And even with all of that, he still rates as the 6th best catcher in the eMLB. Compares favorably to Chris Hoyles, who was a 1990s Orioles catcher. Jim Horner, who is not a CCP, but a catcher in Colorado. And Marc-Andre Fleury, who's another CCP catcher in the league. Grayson Rowan falls down to number 6 in our eMLB top 10 catchers right now. Let's go to number 5. Number 5 catcher is St. Louis Cardinals catcher Matthew Bellows. Helped them win a World Series title, had a 284, 389, 503 slash line. Awesome offense. Again, here we go. Numbers down a bit, especially the slugging was way off. Above average contact, though, I don't think this is going to be a continuing trend with him. Plus power, plus eye. Draws a lot of walks, does not try to force it. Cut down these K rates significantly by almost 6%. He struck out 111 times in 574 plate appearances 2 years ago. Last year, in just 20 less, only had 75. That's incredible. Plus, he raised his walk rate by 3.5%. Was second among catchers in walks. He's figuring out his offensive game, possibly to the adjustment over to the American National League, although with the balanced schedule, it's not usually much of a thing, but he did a really good job. Average speed, can steal you a base, did it 7 times last year. Had a sub-4 catcher's ERA, had a defensive efficiency of 1.071. One of the coolest comparisons that I have done in this entire series is the age comparison for Matthew Bellows at the age of 24. He only compares to Hall of Famer Duke Snider, who was not a catcher, he was an outfielder. And I went back and looked, and yes, this tracks. Matthew Bellows is the number 5 catcher in eMLB right now. Let's talk about our number 4 catcher in eMLB, and it is newly minted Chicago Cub, Marc-Andre Fleury. This is one of the few that I'm not going to talk about having had a down year. He found what everyone else lost in 2030. 323, 414, 566 profile slash line. A profile very high on eye and power, also contact. Made significant strides offensively, had the best season of his career. He's traded to the Cubs in the offseason, had a 356 BABIP, so he was driving the ball. You see his defensive numbers. Great blocker, elite that. Not quite an elite catcher, but close. Can do everything. Not a speed guy, but you're not paying him for that. Tremendous offensive ability here. His ability to throw at runners over the past 3 years has started to steadily decline. It hasn't fallen off a cliff, but something to watch. This is one of my players that I am going to watch very closely next year because I expect the move to Chicago to pay even more offensive dividends for him. He could improve on these numbers. And I think that would be fascinating. Diz was looking very hard at trying to find a catcher all year long. He's got one. I'm curious to see how he handles the pitching staff and the difference that it makes for Chicago in next year. As far as comparisons go, he's compared to Grayson Rowan, who we just talked about, Chris Hoyles, who we also talked about. And by age, Marc-Andre Fleury compares very closely to Joe Torre. And for those of you who only knew him as a manager of the New York Yankees, Joe Torre was a really good catcher, third baseman combo back in the 70s in Major League Baseball. Pretty impressive for Marc-Andre Fleury to be compared to him. He is our number 4 catcher in eMLB right now. All right, we're going to go to number 3. And our number 3 catcher in baseball is Aiden Pearson of the Tampa Bay Rays, the CCP, not the GM. Pearson, 336, 407, 623 slash line, 32 homers, 93 RBIs. Tim, what are you doing? He's 3rd? You'll see. If you don't follow eMLB closely and you're really not sure, the next 2 are just incredible. Sadly, Pearson's great year was overshadowed. He had a career year. You see the 8 WAR, above average in everything. Contact, extremely good power, decent eye, good speed. He's a 5-tool player. He's got above average speed. Defense is where he excels. Only caught 97 games, but had a 1.168 defensive efficiency. Was 3rd in total framing runs, and that's a cumulative stat. So kind of impressive that, he's as high as he was. 7th in runners thrown out, 2nd in zone rating. The blocking and the framing are elite. Got a plus arm. What does the future hold? It will be exciting to see what he is going to be able to do. just entering his prime. He'll be in his age 27 year next year. A big proportion of why Tampa Bay made the playoffs and why they even have a chance again is this catcher. Aiden Pearson is our number 3 catcher in eMLB right now. Number 2, National League batting champion Cam Candela of the San Francisco Giants. 358, 434, 646, led the National League in slugging, in OPS, had 50 doubles to lead the National League. Had a weighted on base average of 447, had a WRC, a weighted runs created plus, of 194. To put that in context, in that stat, 100 is average. Cam Candela, all by himself, is twice what the average player in eMLB would be. That's a phenomenal statistic for a catcher over a full season. That was Cam. Above average BABIP, consistent authoritative contact. His spray chart, the field is just littered. All over the field and beyond. Just a tremendous hitter. Plus power, classic 5 tool, elite catcher, great framer, excellent base runner. It's hard to find a part of his game that's not extremely above average. Was more aggressive at the plate, took a lot fewer pitches per plate appearance, but you can't fault the results. I have a plus 30 rise in batting average. He went up looking for his pitch and he got it, and he did a lot with it. Compares most closely right now to Aiden Pearson, but only by 87%. It's not a true 1-to-1 comp. Cam Candela is very special. The last 3 years, however, he has, in the age category, he has compared the most closely to one catcher in eMLB. And it is our finest in the field, our number 1 catcher. And I hope you're not surprised. American League MVP, Lola Thurman. She was phenomenal. I've said it before. That slash line, 387, 497, 753, led all of eMLB. No one in the CCP era, eMLB 2.0, has dominated both leagues by sweeping the slash line. 13.1 WAR. 3rd straight year leading the league in on-base percentage, as you can see. And last year, 1 of every 2 plate appearances, Lola ended up on base. Give you an idea of how special this year was with Thurman and Candela. There have only been 3 catchers in eMLB, in MLB history, who have led batting titles, won batting titles. It's never been done until 2030, where a catcher won the batting title in each league. This is a first. And Lola Thurman's season, legendary. Flirted with 400 most of the year. She is the best pure hitter in baseball right now. Even, you see the one little bit of green on her profile, and she's above average. Phenomenal. Can run. Had 42 steals. Catching, just incredible. Runs created per 27 outs, 15.86. What does that even mean? That means that if you had a team of 9 Lola Thurmans in your lineup, you'd score on average 16 runs a game. Yeah. This is a terrific player, and hands down, for my judgment, the best player in baseball right now, Lola Thurman. Who does she comp to? Everybody on this list, and Red did. All of the CCPs just a phenomenal, my favorite. Can't wait to see what she does. And oh, look at the two-tone in the profile. The contact and BABIP can even get better, and so can the eye. Look out. This is going to be a fun year for her. Lola Thurman is our #1 catcher in eMLB right now. All right, so you've watched this and you're like, well, what is this eMLB of which you speak? It is an online baseball league run by Out of the Park Baseball Engine, and it is, in my mind, the premier online league in the OOTP community. You can follow it on Twitch here at the link. Play games every Tuesday and Thursday night at 7. Coffee with the commish Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. It's kind of a slow online league. Play 2 seasons for every real calendar year. We're about ready to kick off our 2031 season. Can't not wait for that. You can also go to the official eMLB Universe YouTube, subscribe there. Also like and subscribe here as well. If you want to get some cool merch like this eMLB jersey, go on over to witchyhockeymom.com, the official wardrober of Backfields Media. Links in the description below. Until next time, when we tell you about the top 10 shortstops in all of eMLB, I'm Tim Lowry with Backfields Media, thanking you, hoping you have a good rest of your day.